What's good, y'all? It's me, CBRD, here again with another reaction video. Today we're going to be watching the best superhero games of all time. This video is brought to you by Game Ranks, very good channel. I watch them a lot. And of course the original link to the video is going to be down in the description. So let's go ahead and check it out.
We gave you the worst superhero video games of all time, but today here in Game Ranks, we're here to talk about the 10 best superhero video games of all time. Starting off at number 10, we have X-Men Origins Wolverine. And let me just say that it always blew my mind how much better this movie tie-in game was than the movie it's based off of. It's pretty much a basic hack and slash game with pretty simple controls, but still managed to be a blast to actually play. But I think the coolest thing about this game was its animation. It was pretty bloody for a superhero game.
Hell yeah.
It did an excellent job at capturing how brutal Logan can be, which is something the X-Men movies didn't really capture because they couldn't. You know, they were superhero movies before we really started getting R-rated superhero movies, so Logan couldn't go running around hacking limbs off left and right. There's very much so a movie version of Wolverine and a comic book version of Wolverine, and this game leans way more closely to the comic book version of Wolverine, which I really appreciate because that version is pretty brutal. Yeah, this game really had like no right being this good. Moving on to number 9, we have the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which is essentially the perfect Hulk simulator. It really leans heavily into the ridiculousness that is this big green boy. There are so many Hulk things you can do. You want to leap into the sky?
Yeah, I remember this one. I didn't have this one, though.
Throw it at an enemy.
I had the first one.
Sure,
the first one was terrible.
How about jumping on a bus and using it to surf around the city? You can do that too. Radical Entertainment just really understood Hulk as a character and how he would actually play in a video game, and they absolutely nailed it here. They gave you the room needed as well. The environments here, while kind of bland and boring, were pretty open and filled with stuff to pick up and smash, and it was a wonderful playground.
Hey, y'all gotta think this is old video game. Like, these are old video game times. Like, I think this was on like PlayStation 2. The Wolverine joint, but clearly you said PlayStation 3. Y'all kids don't know nothing now. Y'all don't know the struggle of graphics.
Well, like grabbing a tank.
We thought this shit was cool. Like, we thought this shit was cool.
Gloves out of cars. The enemies were
I remember that though.
Relentless.
He used to play this at my man's house.
Really give you time to slow down, which seems like something the Hulk would do. Just non-stop smash. Like I said before, this really is the best Hulk simulator.
Yeah.
At number 8, we have Infamous 2, which, yes, isn't a superhero game in the same fashion as the rest of the games on this list, but it's still a superhero game.
1 and 2 was dope, but 2 was really dope.
You receive superpowers, have to choose between good and evil and protecting people. So yeah,
I played that game over at least 4 times.
We went with Infamous 2 over the first one because we think 2 not only has the better setting and city, but the story is a little bit better and more comic booky. There's also some X-Men vibes with more conduits starting to pop up. People feel pretty uneasy about them, kind of how people feel uneasy about mutants in the X-Men comics. All the cutscenes were still frames that seemed like they were ripped right out of a comic book.
Thousands died. 5 square blocks, smashed into rubble. And at the center was me. Alive, but changed. But no one could have seen what was coming.
There was also the whole with great power comes great responsibility vibe that I got that also carried over into Infamous Second Son as well. I think Sucker Punch killed
also a pretty good game.
Very own original superhero story. Moving on to number 7, we have Captain America and the Avengers, and I gotta say that this is one of my all-time favorite superhero games. I always had the SNES copy and actually just got to
Nintendo
arcade cabinet last year, and I almost cried. This is your typical run-of-the-mill arcade.
Before I continue, hold on, let me go back. I don't know if y'all saw the celebration of life joint with of Kobe Bryant and Gigi and the rest of the people on the helicopter as well. But Michael Jordan spoke. And it was very heartfelt. Like, it was a beautiful ceremony. I'm not going to skip past that. It's wonderful. Very well done. Very emotional. Yeah. But Michael Jordan spoke. And he started crying again. Of course, yeah. But he was like, and now I'm going to have to see another crying meme. This is the old one. But, yo, the new one It's probably gonna be funny because he actually said something about it. It's just hilarious to me. Anyway, let's go. Let's keep going. My bad.
This is your typical run-of-the-mill arcade beat-em-up where you can play as Captain America, Hawkeye, Iron Man, and Vision. There really isn't anything crazy about this game at all that sets it apart from other beat-em-up games or superhero games, but this came out on SNES in 1993 when I was a kid, and I think that being able to play...
I was born in 1993. No wonder I ain't never know about this genre.
Music and beating the shit out of Red Skull, Ultron, and Crossbones just blew my mind at that age. This one is just straight up nostalgia for me. Next up at number 6, we have Deadpool, which is a weird one. Overall, the game is very okay. There's very boring level design, dumb enemies, dull boss fights, and very okay combat. So then why is it on this list exactly?
I guess what that was about, but I don't want to know.
Well, because of, like, literally everything else. You can tell more time was spent on writing this game than the actual game itself. It's very much a Deadpool game with a lot of Deadpool jokes and a ton of Deadpool antics. Nolan North kills it as Deadpool and has amazing delivery. There's also a ton of classic fourth wall breaking jokes, and seeing Deadpool interact with other X-Men characters like Cable, Wolverine, and Rogue is a lot of fun. You remember that scene where you can just slap Wolverine for like half an hour straight or whatever? Yeah, that was a good bit. I feel like this is definitely a must play for any Deadpool fan. And at number 5, we have Spider-Man 2. You know, the best Spider-Man game based off the best Spider-Man movie. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. The jump from the first game to this one was insane. First off, you had free roam of an open world New York City. Your web actually attached to buildings and light poles, where in the first game it was attaching to clouds, pretty much, I guess.
PlayStation
Combat
1.
was fun.
Yeah, exactly. You were in the sky. It's like, what am I attaching the webs to?
That really stole the show. Swinging around New York is hands down the best part of this game. This was the last truly good Spider-Man game for quite some time, too. Not everyone after this was horrible, but none of them even held a candle to this one.
Except the
this
new
came out
one.
in 2004. The only Spider-Man game, in my opinion, to even come close to this one was Marvel's Spider-Man, and that came out in 2018, 14 years later. But we'll talk about that game in a bit. At number 4, Injustice 2 is one hell of a game. NetherRealm has been doing a great job with single-player stories for fighting games.
I hate
Injustice
games where
2
you
was one of the
can't.
shining examples. It's a great single-player experience. You have to play it because it's a...
It's like, Injustice is cool, but I'm not, like, it's Mortal Kombat with superheroes. Like, you don't have any roam around area. You just go to the next scene to the fight, to the next scene to the fight, to the next scene to the fight. I like open world games. That's just me. I mean, a lot of people love this game just for the fighting. Like, if you want to fight all day, sure. But I want to do other shit than just box with a nigga every time after a cutscene. You know what I'm saying? It's get kind of repetitive. But that's just me.
Perfect example of a fresh new DC story that takes a world and characters that you know and love and flips them on their head. Yeah, technically it's all a big excuse to just get every superhero and villain to punch each other a lot, but the actors specifically for Superman and Batman just do such a kick-ass job. Also, it's a well put together and extremely fun fighting game. Did we forget to mention that?
It is
and
fun,
you know
though.
what? Include the original Injustice in this too, because it's also great. Oh, and the Injustice comics too. I highly recommend them if you're feeling all of this. You probably won't regret it. And at number 3, let's talk about Marvel's Spider-Man. This is one that we here at Game Ranks love. I think Insomniac did an amazing job making a believable Spider-Man game.
This gave me Spider-Man 2 vibes from PlayStation 2. Like, all day, except it was revamped. Look how beautiful it freaking looks. Like, you can see the sun over the building setting. And then you can see the sun on that side right there in the shadow of the building. I didn't grow up with all the video games, but I grew up when the graphical change started to be drastic in development of a game. So I grew up with the pixels because I started on Sega Genesis. And then worked my way up PlayStation 2, and so on up until now. And yeah. But this right here was the most beautiful. God of War as well. And that might be on this list. Well, he's not really a superhero, so yeah. Anyway. But God of War was probably like the most beautiful game I saw. but this one is just as beautiful. I can't even pick which one was better.
Not just in terms of gameplay, but also in story. Yeah, they did some things differently
Yeah, it
that
was
don't
good story,
totally
too.
line up with the Spider-Man lore that's already been laid out for us, but I think they did a great job with making
still
it
cool,
its
though.
own and hitting you right in the feels. One thing
They
that's
keep
super
showing that
important to
damn
any
ink.
Spider-Man game is its suits,
Costumes.
and they nailed it in that department as well. Making every suit not only look different and great, but also gave each one their own unique ability, and even threw us
That's
some
dope.
awesome free ones. I mean, come on, you can swing around in the same Raimi suit. Like, are you kidding me? Even the collectibles were handled well. I actually wanted to spend time swinging around New York to find them.
I
They set
literally
themselves
did
up
that.
really well for a sequel too, and I really hope that we get to see that sooner than later, because Insomniac made a damn near
probably gonna be on
perfect
PS5.
Spider-Man game, and I just genuinely want to play more. Coming in at number 2, we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. Ultimate Alliance blew my mind when it came out, and its sequel was even better. Both of these games were essentially
dope.
fan service of the video
It
game.
was
First
dope.
off, you have
That
the
was like
Civil
one of
War
the premier
storyline
games on
serving as the
PS3
backdrop here.
and Xbox.
Civil War being up there as one of
Xbox
the greatest Marvel stories ever.
360.
And then you're able to build your team from a giant roster of Marvel characters. You have the heavy hitters like Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, and then some smaller characters like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Songbird, and even villains like Venom and Green Goblin. And having all of them on screen at once, it was just insane. It was almost like playing with your action figures and making up your own team that might not necessarily happen in the comics or the animated shows. And like any other superhero game that matters, there were alternate costumes that you could unlock. I will say though that while the second one is the better game, the first one had the better roster. I mean, how are you gonna let me play as Blade, Moon Knight, and Doctor Strange and then not let me play as them in the next game? I mean, that's just straight up mean. And finally, at number 1, we have Batman Arkham City. Now, yes, we realize that none of the other Arkham games are on this list, but we really thought that this was the best of them, but didn't want half of this list to be Arkham games, so we went with what we thought was the best one. Arkham Asylum took the world by storm, and I didn't think that a Batman game could be any better until Arkham City, which took everything Asylum got right, but let you run around an open world Gotham City. I'm pretty sure the first time I got to
like
grab
open world games. Open world games are undefeated. When you have a game that started like a series that starts out as you just going to the next scene, getting through the level, and then it's over type stuff, to going open world, it changes everything. It's that simple. It just changes everything. You giving me free roam around the city as Batman? Come on, bro. The Dark Knight?
Around Gotham, I actually teared up, no lie. The comic book nerd inside of me was freaking out. Just like Arkham Asylum before it, it's packed with villains and also packed with tons of Easter eggs for you to find. Batman's combat is also perfect and really makes you feel badass like Batman.
And this is where Marvel Spider-Man got their combat. It was the same combat system, which is dope. One of the best combat systems ever in the open world. Like, it's that simple.
Man should feel. Rock City did some awesome story stuff as well, with the big ending being very important for setting up what's going on in Arkham Knight. I'd say that all the Arkham games in general should be looked at and studied by any dev team that's going to be making a superhero game in the future. Before we end though, we have some quick bonuses for you that didn't quite make it on the final list, starting off with Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Come on, you really think we weren't going to mention this one here? Not only does it have an awesome roster of heroes, but it also has an awesome roster of Capcom characters as well. As someone that isn't crazy about fighting games in general, this is one that always clicked with me. It was always just a blast to play. And next up, we have The Death and Return of Superman, which is a beat-em-up game based off of the Death of Superman comic arc. The coolest part of this game is that you get to play as a bunch of different characters. Superman, Superboy, Cyborg, Superman, Steel, and the Eradicator. A quick fun fact about this game, it was actually developed by Sunsoft and Blizzard, which I thought was pretty interesting. And last up for our bonuses, we have The Punisher, the Thomas Jane movie tie-in game. We're fully aware that this game isn't great, but it's just dumb, stupid comic book fun. Thomas Jane returned the voice of Punisher here, which was really cool, and Iron Man also shows up for a minute, which is kind of out of place, yeah, but it's Iron Man, so I really don't care. And those are the 10 best superhero video games of all time, but we want to hear from you, so meet us down.
Alright, another reaction successfully done. That was dope. I agree with most of those. I don't think I can't really. These are superhero jumps, so yeah, I feel like it was pretty decent for the most part. I think just about all that fit to where it should have. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you also hit that post notification button so you know each and every time I post a video, every time I post a video. And Also, make sure you check out my gaming channel, which is Chef Boy Games. We got a lot of gaming stuff going on over there. Duh. Anyway, it's been fun, y'all. See y'all next time.